What's going on, guys? I'm the Philosopher, and today I am learning or relearning some King of Fighters 14. I've got my buddy Zerza here, and he's helping me to learn this game. Not technically doing a beginner's type video, it's more of people who are already familiar with fighting games, Street Fighter V specifically. So we already went over it once, but we had some technical difficulties. I messed up and I didn't get good quality footage and audio, so we're going over it again. It's been a couple of days since we actually recorded the first one, and so it'll be a good refresher course for me, and probably a little bit faster. So with that said, yeah, we can kick right into this.
All right, cool. Yeah, thanks for having me. And the first thing I want to say is that KOF is an amazing game, and a lot of people shy away from it because they think the difficulty's too high, or there's too many characters. They don't want to play 3 characters. Well, what I'm going to do is kind of just break it down into its core fundamentals, and we'll go through it step by step. And that should hopefully help people realize that, you know, it's really not too much, and there's a lot of fun to be had once you get through that learning curve. So we'll start out by saying this game, I feel, is a hybrid between like a Street Fighter-esque game and an anime style game. So when I say that, you'll kind of see what I'm talking about as we go through these steps here. But it doesn't play quite as free in the combo system as an anime, but it's definitely not as restrictive as a Street Fighter game. And the movement is also the same way. And that's where we're going to start off. So right away, if you notice, if you front dash, they actually run. So it's a little more freeform than say like a Street Fighter. But the back dashing is still just going to be a regular back dash. The jumping, the air movement, there is no air dashing, but there is 4 different jumps. First one is a normal jump. You'll see they kind of flip forward. It looks very similar to a Street Fighter game with the distance and the amount of frames they're in the air. The second one is a super jump. You do that by hitting down, back, then up, forward. And they go a little bit lower and a little bit farther. So it's kind of like a cancel, like you're canceling down, back to up, forward, and then you hold up, forward. Yep. So the next 2 jumps are the really important ones, and that's hopping. You do that just by hitting up, back, or up, forward, and see they don't flip. They're not in the air nearly as long. And it's a great movement tool. It's harder to anti-air. It's harder to like GP, and it's harder to react to. But it still gives you that overhead attack, as you can see he's doing on the right side of the screen there. Then the last jump is a hyper hop, which is the same thing as doing a super jump, where you hit down, back before you do the up, forward. But you need to make sure that you're only having your stick on the up, forward for a certain amount of frames, so they don't fully jump. And what I recommend you do is you hit for a hop, you hit up, forward, and then immediately go to down, back. So you can see on my inputs there how I ended in the gate there on my stick. So to do the hyper hop, you hit down, back, up, forward, down, back. You're just going back and forth like that. Also, if you're running and you do a hop, they'll automatically do a hyper hop. So that's just kind of covering the basic movement. There is one more movement tool that this game has that a lot of other games don't, and that's rolling. You do that by hitting light punch and light kick. Rolling is invincible to attacks through its active frames, but it can be thrown. And it does have recovery. So on the end there, you could punish me if I just like that. I was holding back there and I still got hit. So rolling does go through projectiles like fireballs. So yeah, if you recover, see how he got hit on recovery there, but you didn't get hit if you did it through the active frames. Also, like it goes through regular attacks, but you can be thrown anytime you do a roll, start up, in the middle of the animation, and on the recovery. And that will bring us to the next part of the tutorial here, and that is normals. There are 4 buttons. They're labeled, your jab is A. This is just like the universal shorthand talk. So if they say like hit A or forward A, they're talking about your jab button or light punch, as you can see LP on the screen there. The next one is B, which is light kick. And then the next one is C, which is heavy punch. And then D, which is heavy kick. And you notice the animation for these, the way they all look from far is going to be different from when you're close, because all 4 of your buttons actually change. So like, see how your jab, your jab is actually like kind of like a regular Street Fighter jab. Well, if you get close, it's like Street Fighter V Ryu. He hits with his elbow. And your close C is going to be different as well as your other 2 buttons. And the reason the close buttons are important to know what they look like and recognize how close you have to be is because when you're comboing, just doing like regular combos, you have to have the close buttons. If I hit bar C, it's not going to allow me to. I can't do anything with that. But if I hit close C, I can actually link it. So those are the normal buttons. And other than just hitting regular buttons, most characters have command normals. Robert's is forward A and forward B. And a lot of characters have, some have more, some have less, but usually the way it works is you're going to be linking regular normals into a command normal. Like a close C is just I'm neutral, yeah, and then you hit forward B, and that'll allow you to do a link. And the way the normals work with the links is you can link crouching shorts. You can link jabs, but if you link too many jabs, they'll do an auto combo, and it's garbage damage. So we're gonna stay away from those. The last 2 things we're gonna talk about as far as normals go are the air normals. So when you're in the air, you have all 4 buttons. They're always going to be the same, regardless of how close or far away you are. When you're going to try and get like a hit and do a combo and link off of it, you need to do a deep jump. Like it needs to be pretty low like that. If I hit too high, it won't actually like link if it's too high. And depending on what button you use, some buttons have more hits done than others. So that's something to know. The lighter buttons are usually good for air to air, as they come out a lot quicker. So if somebody's hopping at you, yeah, like that's actually a good way to get them off you. So that's just something that, is from character to character. Some people's jump B are really good for anti-air and others aren't. The last normal that we have is called blowback. And you do that by hitting C and D, your heavy buttons, at the same time. It doesn't cost any meter. And when it hits, go ahead and hit me with it. Yeah, it launches them across the screen. It's kind of a get off me button. And most of the characters' blowbacks reach a lot farther than their regular normals. They have like a longer startup. Like you see, it's a lot slower.
And it's got a little wall splat there too.
So the blowbacks can also be canceled and linked. So that's something that we can cover a little bit more in depth later. So the next thing we're going to do is load up some meter here and start talking about what that does exactly. And there we go. So now we've got 3 bars on the bottom there. Also, I want to point out before I forget, this game has a guard meter, which is right up at the top there below our health bars. So go ahead and down back. As he's guarding, that's going to come down. If you deplete that bar, you get what's called a guard crush, where you no longer can defend and you're open to a free combo. So it's important to play, when you play defense, to not just keep blocking everything. You want to use movement as a defensive tool as well, so that you don't get opened up just by simply blocking too much. So
that one kind of works like the dizzy meter in Street Fighter V, but instead of getting hit, it's taking blocks.
It's taking too many blocks. Yep. And there is stun in this game, but it's a little more traditional in that they don't give you a stun meter. So you see our faces at the top there. When you get close to being stunned, they do give you a warning. Your character will start flashing green, and then you'll know that you're getting close. Like 1 or 2 more hits, and you're gonna get stunned. But there is a guard meter that you can keep your eye on and see at all times. So that's kind of nice. Okay, so the way meter works in this game, since it's a 3-player, 3v3 format, your point character, which is your first character, they're going to have a maximum of 3 bars. You start the game with 0, and meter is built by doing specials, dealing damage, taking damage. Also, fireballs, when they're blocked, they also give meter to the other player, more so than yourself. So it's important to know that if you're going to zone, you might just be feeding them a lot of meter. So the point character gets up to a maximum of 3 bars, and then it'll actually like say in words above the bar maximum, so that you know I can't get any more meter with this character. The second character, after your first character dies, you get 1 free bar, and then your maximum meter goes up 1, so then it's 4, and then the same thing happens from your mid character to your anchor, which it goes up to 5, and that's the most you can have. The other thing I want to talk about with the meter is that we were talking about blowback earlier. Well, there's a thing called a defensive move that takes 1 bar of meter called guard blowback or guard roll. So, yeah, I'm going to put you in a block stun and then go ahead and hit your blowback. Yeah, and you used 1 bar. See, now you're down to 2 bars there, and it's kind of a free get off of me, stop your pressure. It's a great tool defensively. And then guard roll, so do the same thing, but then hit forward and roll. Or back and roll. And yeah, you can shoot. Sorry, I threw you. So you can actually roll out of the corner, and now you use that as a safe defensive tool. And also there's certain moves, if you study, you get to the next level of the game, there's certain moves on characters when they do them, if you guard roll through it, you can actually punish them, because they'll still be in recovery. Like if I do like a tatsu or something.
Ah.
Yeah, exactly. So you recovered first, I'm still doing my move, and you get to punish me.
That's pretty cool.
So that was a great example that we just saw right there. So that should cover that. The next thing I just want to go over is links. The way the game works, it's still like, going back to what I said at the beginning, it's not like a anime game quite, where you can like rainbow, like light punch, light kick, heavy punch, heavy, like you don't get to just do that.
No magic series.
Yeah, there's no magic series like that, but the links work more like a link in Street Fighter. Or like this is Street Fighter 4 right here, actually. Like I can actually do 4 hits like that. And normally with the close buttons, you can do that into like, like a to a command normal. And the feel of it is not quite like an NRS game where you do like 3 buttons and then watch the character do it. The game plays really responsive. Like you can feel the character doing it like pretty much right after you do the input. Not quite as fast as an anime game with like jump canceling and doing a bunch of air combos. It's not quite that crazy, but so it's got a nice home right in the middle of the Street Fighter and the anime. Doing jump-ins, you get more block stun for using a heavier button. A lot of characters will use jump B. And then, like I said, if you hit it too high, you might not be able to link the next button. See how that didn't link? So what some people will do, and this is a little more on the advanced side, but you do a jump in into a crouch B, because that's his fastest button, and you can combo off of that.
So, quick question. I just noticed this right now, but the total stun bar under your name, or I guess under my name right now, is that like the total stun?
Oh, on the data.
Yeah, I see it. Oh, that's funny. I don't get like any stun for doing this combo either. That's ridiculous. So that's like the auto combo right there. Yeah.
Combos, they're just bad. Just don't.
But what is the stun meter?
What is the stun meter?
Yeah, is that what you're talking about before with like taking too much hits, and like that's what I can see right there, that 1,000.
Well, because we're in training mode, we can see the stun. Like you can tell when I'm gonna get stunned. But
gotcha.
In a normal game, you don't have that.
Right. Okay, that's pretty cool. But I get to actually so I could sit here in training mode and be like, okay, this combo does like 500 stun, and then this other one does like 450 or something like that, and kind of calculate it?
If you were trying to optimize your combos,
okay,
and you were gonna go for I want to do a combo and do a reset and do another combo and get a stun, then yeah, you could literally just like figure out how much stun do I get for this button, how much do I get, and then
gotcha.
Well, this one gives me the most, so I want to use that, so you can definitely do that. Okay, so the next thing we're gonna go over are specials. We picked Robert, so we can relate the game to Street Fighter as much as possible, because this again is gonna be a tutorial for people who have played games like Street Fighter. Robert's considered to be a Shoto. If those of you don't know what that means, he's basically Ryu or Ken or Akuma. He has all the Shoto moves. He's got a fireball, which in this game you can vary the speed by hitting light punch or heavy punch, and they'll go faster or slower. He also has a Tatsu, which is half circle back kick. And again, he has a light and a heavy, and they're going to be different. He has a DP, which is going to be forward, down, down, forward. And one thing you'll notice that all these specials, we can't hit 2 buttons and use meter to make it EX. And the way you do that is you use max mode, and we'll talk about that a little bit different. The next thing I want to talk about is sweeping. Sweeping is a little bit more safe in this game than it is in the other games. Like if you notice, I'll block your sweep. Look how far back that pushed me. So it is an unsafe move technically, but you see what I mean?
Oh, wow.
It's not an auto. Well, they just sweep me back and I'm down. So that's something just to know. And also, you can cancel sweeps into special moves to make them even more safe. Yeah, and you can even do it on whiff. If you're going for sweep and you see that they've moved back and you want to cancel it. So that's just something that is in this game that's not in some others. And it's okay. One more thing here in specials. Blowback. Yeah, you can do a sweep cancel, and you can do a blowback and cancel it. You can cancel pretty much any normal, except if it's far. So if I do this, I can't cancel with a fireball. See, it's not coming out. If I do far C, I can't cancel it, but if I do full C, I can. So that's just something to know when you're figuring out your combos and your strings. And yeah, usually not in all cases, but you're gonna hit like a normal and then a command normal and then a special, and that's gonna be like your building block of your foundation. So like a normal, command normal, special, normal, forward B, Tatsu. Yeah, and then you got 5 hits out of that, so you know it all linked, it did drop, and I couldn't do anything in between all those hits. So that's something to know, and you almost got me stunned. So that is specials and canceling. Now when I say cancel, I'm gonna assume you guys know what I mean, but it just means that you're doing a special move to finish off a normal move before it's finished in recovery. So like if I do this, see he has the recovery, he puts his leg down. Well, I can cancel it by doing a Tatsu, and he didn't put his leg down, he just did the next move instead. That's all that means. So yeah, I'm gonna assume most people know what that means. If not, Google it, or yeah, I'm sure someone can help you out. The next thing we're gonna do is talk about those super moves. So we have 5 bars on our anchors, but we only have 3 for the main characters, for the point characters. So one thing to know with supers is that there's 3 kinds. There's a level 1, then there's a level 2, and then everyone has a climax move. So a level 1 and a level 2 can be the same super move, just that one's going to use 1 bar and one's going to use 2. We're going to do a 1 bar super. So Robert has his normal fireball, but he also has a super fireball that you do by hitting forward, back, half circle forward, and then hit. Yep. Yep, and it takes 1 bar to do that. Now, if you hit both punches, it'll do a level 2, which you see the camera kind of zooms in on him, and he gets a bigger, faster fireball, and it does more damage as well. Same thing for his other super. If you do this, it's going to be a level 1, and the damage is, you know, it's a good way to end a combo. But then if you do it with 2 punches, he gets the zoom in camera, and this is a level 2. It's going to use 2 bars.
It's so crazy looking. Cracks me up.
Yep. The game's pretty flashy. And then the last thing is the climax, which is double half circle forward and kicks. So go ahead and give that a try.
Oh, double half circle. Come on.
Yeah, double half circle.
There we go.
There you go. Yep, and you can do it nice and slow. It doesn't have to be super fast. They kind of dumbed the execution down a little bit, or rather expanded the buffer windows on things, so you don't have to be quite as frame perfect on these, which is nice for, you know, newer players like myself. So that is the level 1, 2, and level 3. Now you can cancel a special move into a super move. So before we were talking about his fireball, right? So you can do a fireball and cancel it into a super fireball, and that did combo. It's important to know that, because at the end of a combo, a lot of times you're going to end with, like, say, a DP, and then you might want to cancel that into a super like that. One thing that is that really helped me kind of figure this out: if you're doing a special move and going to cancel it into a super, and the motions share, the inputs share motions, you can use the first part as the move. So let me kind of dumb that down a little bit. If I'm gonna do a move, a super that's quarter circle forward, half circle back punch, the first part of that was a quarter circle forward. So I can actually throw a fireball because that's the same motion. And then I can use that motion as the first part of the second move, which is that. So all I had to do was basically take the super input of quarter circle forward, half circle back, and just throw a punch in halfway through. And so you don't have to do quarter circle forward and then another quarter circle forward, is the point I'm getting at. You can share the input because you've already done the quarter circle forward. I hope, does that make sense to you?
I think so. What was the input for the super again? Let me look it up real quick.
Quarter circle forward, half circle back, punch.
Okay.
Yep. So you can fireball and cancel it with that.
I think I'm doing too slow or too fast.
Yeah, just nice and smooth. Like, being accurate is better than being
Actually, yeah.
There you go.
I slowed it down a little bit. Yeah, that came out a lot easier.
You'd be shocked how slow.
Yeah.
The inputs.
I was doing it way too fast.
Yeah. Yep.
So also, yeah, it's kind of the same concept as Street Fighter V, where you can do the same exact thing. I don't know if a lot of people know that play Street Fighter, but you can do the same exact thing in Street Fighter to kind of shortcut your inputs from a special to a super.
Yeah, like Ryu, I'm pretty sure he has.
Oh wow, that range.
Critical art. Yeah, Ryu's critical art is double quarter circle forward punch, right?
Yes.
So you can do a fireball into that. Like, yeah. The thing about this game though is all the characters have super moves that are different, which Street Fighter tried to make all the supers be, you know, double quarter circle forward to kind of be universal. Mm-hmm. This game didn't do that because mainly your characters have 3 super moves, so they have to have different inputs.
Right.
Okay.
That's cool.
So the last thing we'll talk about with supers is an advanced cancel. So we talked about level 1 and level 2, right? So you can actually do a level 1, and then you can cancel that with a level 2. So it'll take 1 bar, then it'll take 2 bars. So it'll be 3 bars total. So if I do my fireball into my super move, then I can actually cancel this and do a level 2 fireball.
That's so ridiculous.
It's actually decent damage. It's not optimal as some other combos you can do, but sometimes you'll get that hit and you'll start the super and you'll be looking at their health, you look at your meter and you're like, you know what, I can finish them off. Like, just go ahead and do it. You can also do that off of a blowback. Now I'm out of meter, so I'm not going to advance cancel it, but so that is an option. You know, you can cancel level 1 into level 2.
Damn.
And it feels pretty godlike when you hit that in a real match, not gonna lie. So that's the last thing for supers. Okay, so earlier when I mentioned we don't have EX moves, okay, the game does have EX moves, they just work differently. So I can't just at any moment decide I'm gonna raw get an EX fireball. I have to activate what's called max mode, and you do that by hitting heavy punch and light kick, or if you have a button set up like I do, to hit both those buttons for you. Now, I get this max mode bar at the bottom of the screen, and that's gonna use one real meter to give me a max mode meter. The timing on it drops the meter down, so it drains over time, and it also drains faster if you do an EX move. So you see how the fireball, it just hits you once normally, but in max mode, if I do an EX, it'll hit you twice and knock you down. So it's a better version of the move, just like you would expect, you know, any EX move to be in a game. Now, another reason you would use an EX move is to get juggle states and continue and extend your combos. So let's look at Tatsu. That just does that and you're still on your feet. But if I do an EX Tatsu, now you're in the air and I can juggle you. So that's something that's really important to know, what your specials you can EX and how it changes them. So that's kind of a fun thing when you're labbing to figure out is you know, what am I going to get? Why would I ever EX Tatsu? You know, where I can, is it worth doing? You know, and things like that. So one thing I want to point out is if you just raw max mode like this, you get that full bar, and if you cancel a move into max mode, notice that it starts half full. But it allowed me to extend my combo. See how he runs forward automatically? I'm not holding forward there. He's doing it by himself. It allows you to cancel any move, and he'll run forward and see like that. So you give up half of your max bar, but it is really efficient to extend combos and allow you to get that EX Tatsu to continue juggling and go ham and see all the cool spicy combos that are in the game, which is one of the biggest draws, the reason that I started playing it. So, nice link. Another thing about max mode, just like how your point, your mid, and your anchor have different limitations on how much bar they can have, let me set up here. This is what the mid characters will look like. So you notice how the meter's a little bit bigger now for your mid character. And then we'll go to our anchor mode, and now they get a full bar of max mode. So your anchors, you can see they have a higher limitation of how many bars they can have, which is 5, and they also get more max mode, which means their combos can be longer. They can do 3 EX moves in a combo instead of just 2 or 1, and they also have more meter to begin with, so they're able to use it more often. That's why when you see an anchor versus an anchor in a game and they're fully stocked, it's almost like one-hit kill. I mean, if you're at like 80%, pretty much most of the good anchors in the game are going to be able to kill you. Okay, so the other thing about max mode is, if you're in max mode and you do a level 1 super, you get a free level 2. It automatically turns it into one. So let's just kind of digest that a little bit. You've spent 1 bar already to be in max mode. You spend 1 bar to do the super, so you don't feel like you got gypped out of your meter. It gives you the level 2 for free. So an optimal thing to do in this game is to do like a 2-bar combo, and then have it end in a super where I don't drop it, where you get the free level 2 on the end of it. So you get the idea. And the reason you want to do that is it's a meter management thing. You get a lot of damage out of your 2 bars, and you get to use max mode to extend your combo to confirm off your hits. So you know, you're running at them and you confirming that you're getting these hits, and then you get to pop your max mode and, you know, continue your combo. See, and I get a free level 2 on the end there. So that's just something to go over for that.
That's a lot of damage.
Now, another thing max mode is good for is for max range punish. Remember how earlier we said that if we hit like a far button, we can't cancel off of it, right? Like I'm doing far D and I can't cancel. But what you can do is you can max cancel. See, so if you're playing footsies and you're trying to punish someone with like a far-reaching button, now you're not going to punish them much if you just hit them with that, right? They're like, oh, but if you can like hit them with like a stand D into a full combo, now they're thinking differently about hitting that with buttons. So that's another element of the game that I like, is that footsies is very relevant because of that max button. And that brings us to our last section here of the fundamentals, which is going to be the combo section. So like I kind of touched on earlier, you want to start with like something you can confirm off of. So like basically with your character that you're learning, you want to learn like a bread and butter. So you want to figure out like the normal you hit into your command normal, and so like what specials can I do off of that, and then what does that give me? And real quick, actually, we should go over throwing, because I totally forgot to do it. Throwing is when you're close, you hit forward or backward, and then you hit either C or D. C will throw them forward, and D will throw them backwards behind you. And you cannot be running. If you're running at them, it won't throw. You'll get that every time. So you have to be in either a standing state or a walking state. And you can't throw someone when they're in block stun, just like any other game. And on knockdown, they have actually here, I'll put you in the corner. They have frames where you can't throw them. See, I got a punch to come out even though I was clearly walking forward. Yeah, so you're not able to throw on the first few frames of recovery off of a knockdown. So there are other things you have to do to get a throw if you're trying to get throw loop going. And that is bringing us back to where I was before, and that's going to be the combos. So it's important to get a meterless mid-screen and a meterless corner. So if we're in the mid-screen, the combos are going to be slightly different. What I can do is I can do a close C into a forward A into a dive kick. And that's pretty decent damage, and it gives me a knockdown. But if I'm in the corner, what I can do is the same combo, but I can add a DP to the end of it. And that's pretty decent damage as well. So it's important to know, if you're in mid-screen, that if you hit this combo, you can't do a DP afterwards. Otherwise, yeah, they'll wake up and punish you. So that's one thing you want to get in your arsenal: a good bread and butter, like a normal into a command normal into a special. And the next thing you want to do is get a one bar. You can accomplish this in two different ways. The first way is you can use just a bar. Like I can do, let's see here. I can do that and like use 1 meter just raw, or I can like learn an actual max combo. So I didn't do a super move, but I did get a lot more damage by doing a max combo. Jeez. So the game rewards you for doing the thing that's going to take a little bit more work. So you saw like just doing like in the super is not nearly as much damage as doing an actual like full combo. Yeah. So even just a baby ender like that is still more damage.
Okay.
Yeah, and then the next thing to do be add a max combo that ends in a super, which we saw earlier. If I don't drop it. Oof. Yeah, so I get my free level 2 on the end there. And one of the fun things about the game is figuring out all these, you know, routes you can take, and keeping that. I highly recommend you guys play both with your inputs on and with your attack damage on, so that you can see how much damage do I get if I do this one versus if I do, like, say, this one. You know, and don't miss the DP on them. Like, it's gonna be more damage one way or the other. So that's kind of the fun, you know, optimizing your stuff, or even getting next level with it and saying, well, this one gives me a hard knockdown and this one doesn't. Yep. So right there, you would want to have done an EX Tatsu so that you get the juggle and then you get to continue. And right there, you can do a fireball and cancel that into a super, or yeah, it's just a whole bunch of stuff that you get to play around with it. Yeah. So that one you can't do because he was a little too high.
So would it be?
But if you did fireball into
that one, okay.
Yeah, usually like the easy one I showed you earlier is if you do fireball into this one, because the fireball, even if they're juggling, it'll hit them and keep them there. It won't hit them like high up like a DP will.
Gotcha.
And if you do a DP cancel, you have to cancel the first hit, and it has to be really low.
Oh, too slow.
Yeah, so right there, you would want to do that into the super. And one thing I recommend to you and to anyone who's watching is if you're gonna practice combos, take them one part at a time. Like, find the part that you're dropping and do that part over and over again. So for you, Kavian, I would recommend you just do raw EX Tatsu into Fireball Super.
Need some more.
So yeah, max mode up. Yeah, I'll get in the corner. Yep, and then just do EX Tatsu. Alright.
There we go.
It's half circle back.
Oh, right.
And then fireball, and then super. Or DP, that works too.
Yep. I don't think it'll work in the combo though.
There you did it low enough.
Oh, so okay, I see.
That combo.
Interesting. Okay.
Yeah, the reason I was telling you to do fireball is it's a little easier. So yeah, so you take it one piece at a time. Just do fireball super.
Yeah.
Then add EX Tatsu fireball super. Then add the hits before it. So take it one step at a time. Don't try and do too much, and you'll have a lot more success that way.
Yeah.
Rather than trying to, because if you're anything like me, I have trouble memorizing combos.
Yeah, I'm the same way.
It's like if you're a musician, you're learning a new piece of music. You do one measure at a time. Like, you memorize the first two measures, then do them 4 times, then add the third measure. Well, same thing with fighting game combos. And then the last thing you would want to learn after you've done your meterless corner, your 1-bar corner, your 2-bar, is you would want to add like something if you were playing, say, an anchor character. It could be a 5-bar combo. So that would be a max mode into a level 2 super, and I'll show you what that looks like. So I did my level 2. Now I can climax cancel this during the last part of the animation of that, and that uses all 3 bars. So this is a 5-bar combo.
Damn.
And it actually does more. And this is the last part I'll touch on, and that is how to lab efficiently. When you're learning combos, once you have the muscle memory down, okay, this is how I'm going to start it. You want to add a hop to the beginning of it. Because in a real match, you're not going to just get to run up at people and do this. Like, that never happens. So you need to either start your combo from a low or start it from a hop. And just do that. And another reason you do that is so that you don't have to load your game up and practice hopping. Because hopping's new to you. And this is boring. No one wants to do that. So you can passively practice your hops by doing them during your combo practice. This is great because, yeah, you're doing hops. So you notice how he's not flipping and you're not jumping really high. That's how you know you're getting the hops.
Yeah, I will say, as someone who doesn't play this game or is just learning it, it's probably, I would recommend what he's saying, because it is, like, you will have to practice hopping, and you might as well at least practice it in a practical manner, because it takes a little getting used to.
Get 2 things done at once is my point. Like, practice your combos and practice your hops. Yeah, because otherwise, if you just practice from a standing position hitting them with 5C, it's not gonna give you any practical, you know. So when you do get those stray hits in the game, you're not gonna be able to convert them to anything. But if you have all this practice of you know, hopping at them, now at least you have like, because they have to block overhead. If you hop at me and I'm down back, I'm gonna get hit. So another thing about the linking like a hop D into a close C is you have to hit it deep and you have to be close to them. Yeah, so that was good. If you were just back a little too far, it would miss. Like right there, you probably would have missed your close C.
There we go.
Yeah, so that's looking good right there. So yeah, so do that a few times. You know, I like to pop music on and just kind of, you know, do that so that your mind is, you know, you don't have to focus so hard, but you kind of get the muscle memory. And that's what you want. You want to get it to a point where you can just, your brain can say do the thing and your hands just do it. And you don't have to like really focus on it. And that'll free up your brain power to do focus more on neutral and things like you know, poking and whip punishing and playing the next level. So also one last thing I'll say, and I think we'll be done here, is that when you're practicing, make sure you face both ways. So you need to do the same combo 10 times on this side as well as the other one. So that your hand doesn't get used to doing the inputs only one way. And that way, when you're in a match, you won't have a favored side. And that was something that I, you know, personally struggled with when I started learning fighting games. And
almost there.
The last thing that I didn't talk about is the button buffer. So Street Fighter V has negative edge, where if you press the button and when you release the button, they both count as a button press. In this game, there is no negative edge, but if you hold the button down, it will give you more inputs. You see how we're getting the light punch inputs on there. So when you do like your super cancels, like fireball into you want to hold the button on the last part. See how I got 2 light punches on the end there? Yeah, and you got 2 light punches as well. So by holding the button, it just gives you a little bit more of a buffer window.
Oh wow, yeah. So I kind of get it from last time now. It makes a little more sense.
Yep. So it's a little bit, you know, it's not huge, but it is something that helps when you're, you know, because again, the game's not frame perfect timing anymore for some of this stuff like it used to be. So that's something that you can use. And yeah, I think that's everything.
Cool. Yeah, it was good to get a refresher because there were certain things that I found myself remembering and like rolling over in my head trying to remember it. So that's actually really useful. I know I want to get a little bit of training in. I'm also glad that you use this character. I know he has a couple other moves, but I think just for the demonstrative purposes, it's actually useful and less overwhelming, especially the second time. But that said, I'd love to know what anybody watching thinks. You know, if you guys are new to King of Fighters or interested in it, if you found this useful, let us know down below. Also, if you do already play King of Fighters, you know, let us know what you thought and what other advanced things that transfer over from Street Fighter can we talk about and learn. Because I'm trying to learn the game, it's pretty fun. And then also just the fact that I love learning about fighting games because, one, it's usually hard to learn about fighting games from people because people are better at playing it than teaching it. But when you find someone who can teach you the game, like, and you go to a major and you actually see high-level King of Fighters or Killer Instinct or whatever, it's just way more, it's more fun. You actually enjoy watching it, and I'm going to look out for King of Fighters now at, like, Combo Breaker and Michigan Masters when I go, just because I know how the game works a little bit better now, and it actually makes it, like, I appreciate the game that much more. So that said, unless you have any other closing messages, let the people know where they can find you if you have any content or they want to reach out to you to maybe learn King of Fighters.
Yeah, I'm GR Zurza. I'm part of Team Ogre, and my YouTube channel, if you search GR_Zurza, that's XURZA, I post little combos, you know, training stuff. I post my money matches, stuff like that, and you can, yeah, feel free to shoot me a message, and I'd be happy to answer any questions. And I play on PlayStation, So if you want any games with me, I play there as well. And yeah, just the last thing I'll say is find one character you like, just one, and learn that character really well, and force yourself to learn the fundamentals and the mechanics of the game. And a lot of the things you do with this one character will translate over to the next character that you play. A lot of the characters do, things somewhat similarly for the most part. So yeah.
Cool. All right. Well, thank you guys so much for watching. Of course, hit that like button. And if you enjoyed the content like this and my other series as well, make sure you guys hit that subscribe button. But until next time, I'll see you guys later.